Milwaukee Public Schools have, from an administrative standpoint, have just struggled for so long. We've had a parade of superintendents, and now this last one, who was longer termed, kind of ran amok in terms of the actual administrative capabilities, and I'm afraid that it's given credence, unfortunately, to those who want to attack public schools generally. And my general sense is that we need to reboot somehow with Milwaukee public school system. And I sort of favor those who've talked about breaking it up into 3 or 4 districts, smaller districts in which the grassroots members of the public would become much more involved in the school district itself, and the school boards of those school districts would be reflective of the community that in which they reside. We'd come closer to neighborhood schools in that process. We could have open enrollment between these various districts, but there needs to be a change. And I'm a strong believer. I believe in public education. I think it's the basis of our democracy, actually, where everybody, Tom, Dick, and Mary, whether they have lots of money or a little bit of money, mingle with one another, learn elbow to elbow, and achieve a national and social and local camaraderie.
Sandy, when people start saying it becomes a jobs program when there's almost 9,000 employees, and that becomes the focus more than anything else, and that perception is out there.
Yeah.
It's the frustrating part about it all, Sandy, is that the budget is bigger than Milwaukee County's entire budget.
Well, that, to me, that's okay. I think we should be focusing lots of money on the education of our young people. We need to do it effectively, and we need to use the money efficiently, and we need to make sure that the people who are instructing are adequately compensated, and that they get the adequate support, and that the students in particular get the right kind of schooling, all of which can be accomplished in the Milwaukee school districts. But I just think we need to rethink how we administer it.
So let me ask you, because the governance model that is in place right now is people elect school board members from the community. School board members then basically run the district, a $1.5 billion budget. Now, you don't have to be an accountant to become a school board member. And so you're asking a lot of average citizens who, many instances, they get $20,000 a year for doing this, which is a mere pittance, to have to deal with something that has a budget of $1.5 billion and 9,000 employees and almost 70,000 students. I don't think you can any longer say that just because somebody runs for school board with no background in things, that we put them in a position that we expect them to be able to deal with all of that.
Well, that's why I say, the school districts around the state are smaller in size. Milwaukee Public School District is by far the largest in the state, and maybe it's too large to operate under the mechanism that is devised for it. But there are plenty of school districts around the state that are very well operated using lay members for the school board who are elected by their local constituencies. I just think we're too big. I mean, to run for the school board in Milwaukee is the same as to run for mayor or something.
Right.
So it isn't a localized kind of an election, and as a result, you can't just be anybody. You need to have some financial support from someplace. It's different than running for the school board in almost any other school district. And that's why I have a sense that maybe if we make the school districts, turn it into some smaller school districts, several, that we can begin to achieve the success that the students deserve.
Well, there was a lot of talk decades ago or more about, turning it over to the mayors, to the city, and letting the mayor run the district and, turn it over to the state. And it's easy to say that, but the mayor quickly said no.
Well, those things are always temporary. When there's a dissolution of a district and it gets taken over by the state or gets taken over by a mayor, that's just an interim step prior to the reorganization. Okay, so I'm not suggesting those things, but I do think that that there needs to be serious consideration to some kind of a reboot, so we can get a restart.
Well, I can tell you, Sandy, if ever there was a time, it's now. If ever it was going to happen, it's now. And I don't think there's anybody who can rightfully support the same thing. You know, I'm a guy who supported the district forever, but not solely because of what happened with the monetary aspect of it, but with the fact that so many children are just not performing, and whether or not it's based on the district not educating them or a whole bunch of factors that go into it. You know, you can't keep graduating children who can't
Well,
compete.
there's no question that the deck has been stacked against the Milwaukee School District. Vouchering, a whole bunch of things have transformed the nature and of the cross section of the demographics of the students who attend the schools, which have increased the problems that are associated with successful outcomes. But that being said, I think that from the administration standpoint, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.